So it's Saturday the 6th of November 2021. I'm in the West Dunes, or the Westduinpark of the Hague. Today I'm doing a longish training run. So of this new training schedule I'm doing to work myself back up to distance, this is by far the longest run. So this will be about 19 kilometers, maybe as much as 20, I don't think so. And so that's going to be 11 to 12 miles. So it's run at an easy pace, which suits me. So I'm just cutting through. I'm going to go up to a little town called Kijkduin, which I've run through many times before. And then I'll be back on the dunes the other side, running to Monster. I might well turn back just before Monster and then come back along the beach path. So we'll see how that goes. So I didn't do the park run in the Hague, the Zandmotor Park, this morning, but what I did do is volunteer. So I helped out. That was very nice. Met Phil and all the gang who I've met before, but when I've been running, so it's a bit different. And I was doing the scanning of the finishers today, so it felt nice to do that. Nice relaxing start to early Saturday. There were 60 finishers, and it was great to see them, including a group from the UK. So you get the park run tourists who go around trying to do different events, and they'd come over to the Netherlands. They drove in last night, stayed overnight, got up nice and early, and then they're heading back after a little look around the Hague today. They're heading back this evening and going across on the channel. So that was really nice to see them. It's a very mixed group in the Hague. You probably understand, very international. A lot of Brits mixed in there, and yeah, so it's a nice crowd. Gather for a coffee afterwards, like a lot of the park runs do, or all the park runs. It's a very social thing. You get you get the whole spectrum of runners. You get club runners who are doing, yeah, well, I think today the fastest was around 18 minutes, but you get club runners doing 16 and sub 16, and then the other end you get people who are walking, taking up to an hour to do the park run. So it's really nice to see families, babies being pushed around in pushchairs, in strollers, whole spectrum, young, old, like me, and it's just amazing to see. So lovely little scene when a young girl finished ahead of her older brother today. She was absolutely overjoyed. I think it's the first time. He did have a sore foot, but I think we'll definitely give that one to her. So I'm about to come into Kijkduin. You can hear the wind now probably. So it's about 30 kilometres coming out the southwest, so my return legs should be a bit gentler with the wind behind me. So I'm just at the turnaround point now. Almost 9.5 kilometres. So I'm on my way to Monster, and I'll turn around in a moment. Just caught sight, you might not be able to see them just on the dunes, all the kite surfers on the other side. I'll show you that a bit later. So far so good. Yeah, I'll carry on to Monster. So I've been following this cycle path since Kijkduin. You can tell it's very windy, so I'll be on for long. Then I'll do a turnaround in about a kilometre and head back. So I'm just coming up to 12 kilometres. I'm in an area north of Kijkduin, sorry, south of Kijkduin, called Zandmotor, and you can see here there's a natural lake form with the huge sandbar that forms here, and it's kind of semi-permanent. As you see, there's a guard tower, Coast Guard tower over there. So ideal conditions for learning to kite surf, but also when the winds really get up, you've also got the shelter from the really severe kind of waves coming in. So already mentioned it's the Saturday the 6th of November 2021, and the reason I mention it again is because this is the first day of restrictions coming back in the Netherlands. So it's been 20 months since March 2020 when the first lockdown came in. These provisions have returned after the summer. Netherlands pretty much dropped most of them, but they've reinstated today mask wearing inside shops and distancing again. So we're back to the 1.5 meters distancing. So they were pretty much ignored even as recommendations here. So it's going to be interesting to see how adherent people are to those new regulations coming back in. The Dutch, notorious for not wanting to follow regulation, they can help it. So interesting, the other thing they're bringing or reinforcing, because there has been a requirement on indoor venues, but it's been rarely applied, looking at the news and through personal experience, which is using the Corona pass. If you've been vaccinated or recently tested negative or had an infection you've recovered from, to go into an indoor venue. Well, that's properly coming back in today, and actually includes if you're going to drink or have something to eat outside of a bar in the outside areas, then officially you're supposed to have the pass scanned to check. And there have been some recent outbreaks. So there was I can't remember if it's a nightclub or a dance event a couple of weeks back in Amsterdam where 100 people tested positive within a couple of days of that event. Now the infection rate has gone right up. I've talked about this before. It's been nowhere near as high as the UK, for example, which is, had an early reduction due to vaccination ahead of a lot of other European countries, but then seem to struggle with a much higher rate of prevalence and infection. Well, this week the Dutch overtook the UK. UK's come down a bit, about 34,000 infections, so it's close to 50 per 100,000 people per day. The Dutch rate now was about to touch 11,000 yesterday. It's just short of that, but that was a rate of 62 per 100,000, so they're definitely above UK rate now. And it's one of those reasons, seeing those rates just increase week on week, it's one of the reasons the so-called caretaker government in the Netherlands has decided to bring back the provisions. Interesting, it's still called the outgoing government or the caretaker government, but it's been there pretty much since the elections in the spring, so it's taken a while for them to negotiate who the next government is. It's still, I think, likely to be led by Prime Minister Mark Rutte, but and there won't be a significant changing of the guard. So anyway, that's the kind of situation. So I'm coming back towards Kijkduin. There you can see the towers and where they're building a new development. Not far to go. Once I get back to there, I've got about 5 kilometers to get back home. So I'm probably going to run another 7 kilometers or so, make it up to about 19 to 20k. So despite it being windy, that was quite a battle coming the other direction. It's actually been quite nice, just amazing for November, start of November, and it's 12 or 13 Celsius, just amazing.